We don't get tired of asking the question, and that's why every Saturday on Freedom Square we deepen the discussion to ensure that we entrench democracy. Uche Gabriel is my name, and I welcome you to Freedom Square this beautiful Saturday morning. And I will introduce my executive host, who will in turn introduce our wonderful guest this morning. But someone is going to make a case, and there's a very strong case why the incumbent governor should be returned come 2019. Cyril Uchenani, okay, good morning, and welcome back to Enugu.
Yeah, good morning, ECDMC, and indeed, good morning to our people. Good morning to the Southeast Nigeria. Good morning to Enugu State, the state that actually is still in the hand of God. And welcome if you are listening, if you are in the Southwest, in the South rather, or in the North Central. As usual, we'll bring you our breakfast show. We serve it fresh every Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. And today, we're beginning a series that help our people understand why they should vote where they should vote. Because, of course, you know, the ban on electioneering has been lifted. So we're not breaking no laws. We're going to say the way it is. And, well, we can start in another place. Now, with the man who in virtually 3.5 years has been at the saddle of leadership in Enugu State. Like him, hate him. He has done the best he could do for the state. And at least Enugu State is very, very peaceful. Not peaceful. I qualify it. Very, very peaceful. But in spite of that, you still have people who have one or two reservations. And so we're going to look holistically, one at the man, Lawrence Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. He's called Gburugburu. And we begin to interrogate this Gburuguruism. What does it stand for? What does it mean? Is it living true to the word? And then we want to say, yes, must he be re-elected? Is there a compulsion that incumbent must go by? And so to actually shed light to these fundamental questions, answer them, and then maybe answer the queries of our listeners who have chosen to bring to the studio two gentlemen who has the onerous task of not only managing the image, but speaking for Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi campaign organization towards 2019 elections. Incidentally, you know, when I speak here, I am not biased. He said they are my friends. I'm not going to deny they are my friends because we are here. But that doesn't mean that Freedom Square will not be asking the questions that are critical. Okay, so first let me welcome my friend and my brother, Nana Ogbodo. He's Director of Communications, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi campaign organization. Nana?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And the next person is also my friend. We spent the greater part of our lives at the University of Nigeria, battled student unionism, and suddenly we disappeared in various areas, and now he has resurfaced. And he's doing a great job. He is Charlie Agbo. He is the head of strategy Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi campaign organization. Charlie.
Thank you very much.
Is this about the lawyers? And I begin to ask, what are these lawyers doing heading the communication outfit of a campaign organization? Nana?
Thank you, my dear friend Uche. It's often a pleasure for one to be chosen to represent his state. It is not essentially a job for those who studied mass communication. It is a job for those who have witnessed transformation in Enugu, and they can tell the story poignantly and refreshingly. And I believe it doesn't take any qualification for anybody to notice what has been a transformative regime in Enugu State. So I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm proud to be privileged to be on the saddle to see how it has been in the last 3.5 years.
Charlie, do you share his sentiments?
Oh, absolutely. It's quite a great privilege to be associated with this campaign. When you have a very great product, they say you don't make a great force. But I dare say that we have a great product and we are prepared to make a great force. The basic idea here, lapping on to the question itself, there will always be the legal side of everything. There will always be that perspective of the law in everything. And then it spices up whatever the responsibility is. And as far as I am concerned, you may be surprised that it wasn't just a happenstance. It underpinned the philosophical disposition of the government in trying to give legal foundation to whatever he does. So it was a deliberate choice to associate people who have understanding of the law, but also have skills in public image presentation and stuff like that.
Okay, this question, well, Nana, you take it, and Charlie will also take it. Working with His Excellency within the time you've done so, I'm sure it gives you a rare privilege to know him in many ways. Most people may never know him. For those who may not have, who are not from Enugu State, who want to ask, who is Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi? What unique features make him an outstanding governor? One, who is he? And then why do you think he's an outstanding governor?
Okay. His Excellency Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, otherwise known as Gburugburu, represents many things to many people. And in summation, the totality of what he represents is indeed an answer to the prayer of the Enugu people for over several years. You would know that since the journey into the present dispensation, we have transited from various backgrounds to where we are now. And looking at Ugwuanyi, I would say he represents the prayer of Enugu people who really wanted a man who has understanding of the human feeling. He's a good man. And then when I want to categorize the paradigms of his goodness, I want to put it in perspective. As a person, he's humble, almost to a fault, almost to the point of self-effacement. He has this compassion for human beings. He's capable of empathizing with the people. And even in his private life, he has never left any man poorer than he met him. When I look at him, I see a man with vision, I see a man with passion, I see a man with compassion. He's a man with power, yet he's incapable of guiles. He's confident and he's humane. And he has brought all these attributes to bear in his governance, such that Enugu people can look back and know that he has never left any broken promises. And I think, judging by his performances so far, he has been able to, by his personal life, he has been able to demystify the highfalutin facade usually foisted by some flamboyant leaders on the office he occupies. He has been able to deconstruct the office of the governor from a grandiloquent imagery that places it above the people and brought government to the people and all the people. He's a man who recognizes that first and foremost we are human beings before we are politicians. And he prevails in granting you their right to swing their arms as much as you will let him have the right to protect his nose. Enugu has been peaceful, and it is not by accident. It is an attribute that emanates from his personal character, because he has brought a new culture of politics to Enugu, which I prefer to call political ecumenism. It is something based on the fact that he believes that even though we may differ in political viewpoints, we are essentially indigenes of Enugu. And the only way we can move forward is for us to have peaceful interaction. I think never before has Enugu known the kind of peace it knows today, such that it may be arguable to say that Enugu is the safest state in the whole federation. I think it is good for me to combine with him.
Thank you very much. Well, I just have to put a caveat. While you blow this a big grammar, I just want you to know that there are people out there who may be temporarily confused.
No. There is no. Enugu is an enlightened society.
Yes.
Enugu has the highest
No,
number of.
this is beyond Enugu. You have Benue, you have Kogi.
Yes, everywhere. But we are talking about Enugu voters.
Yes.
Everywhere. And Enugu has the highest number of higher institutions in the whole federation.
So you don't know that there are Enugu people in Calabar. you know, who will be coming back to vote.
They will understand me.
Okay, Charlie, you've had your friend talk about the qualities. I'm going to let you talk also about that, but from a different perspective. For too long, the Super Secretaries on clamored for government. And run up to that election of 2015, a lot of people appeared. Something stood His Excellency out. It became a choice. I've never seen a more unanimous choice. Looking back as a man from that area, why do you think it happened that way?
Yes. When you get the people involved in any venture, that particular product becomes a brand. If it is politics and the people get involved, you are likely to have a brand emanate or as a consequence of that venture. It was not chance that brought out Gburugburu. His element was already, household as an individual. Now, when we talk about the humanization of politics, which has been the hallmark of his administration, and essentially the benchmark of our new politics in Enugu State, you realize that it was not really a very difficult choice for the people to make. It was so easy to identify with an individual who really identified with the causes that were important to the people of Nsukka. So there was a collective, a near general agreement that we had a blend of a human specimen and also a political animal at once. And so it stood out. It was very easy for our people to make. So those qualities were such that he had affected practically every home as a legislator and even as a Rotarian. So it is the human aspect that stood him out. You know, there's a lot of guile in politics. Now you have a human being who is practically guileless. Now you could practically see through him. Now the people, had this affinity. The relationship was real. He was present in all functions. In weddings, he'll be there with you. In burial, the time of celebration is there with you. In time of sorrow, is there with you. At all times that were important to our people, you will find him. And so those were the qualities. And then you had an individual who not just had gone a long distance in affecting people, but practically had economic, input into the people's lives. Our people are essentially poor, and this person had practical direct influence, impact on the finances of very young people, traders, students. He had scholarship schemes and all that. And you know what? These were things he was doing when he never had any idea whatever that he was going to become a gubernatorial candidate. It was just a natural instinct. You understand? So the human element was this, the distinct factor that made it an obvious choice to the people. As a matter of fact, if it were possible not to have had election at all, he would have simply been the natural choice. So I think I am just essentially echoing the opinion of everybody. And so in this regard, it is the human aspect of this individual that stood him out.
All right, let me comment there. This human, I think I like that cliche, humanization of politics, because it needs to be human. If you're dealing with human beings.
And then you combine it with the communism.
Yes, we will talk about that one too. But this human side of Gburugburu has been grossly misunderstood. And I'm going to cite two examples. One, he showed up at Nrobo, when there was killings there, and then he broke out in the minds of people.
That Nimbo.
Nimbo rather,
yeah.
Nimbo. And then people were like, governors don't cry. So
Because they're not human. Is that?
you rarely see a governor cry, and even if they cry with curtains covering. They don't cry openly. So that's one part. The other part is the government house seems to be accessible, more accessible now rather than what it used to be. So, but people are saying this is not the way it's supposed to be. How do you respond to those who criticize these human side in quotes?
Okay, I am going to use an illustration. Some years back, when he was a member of the House of Representatives,
Okay.
I had a friend who was Director General of National Maritime Authority. And then he had some difficulty, and His Excellency was Chairman of the Maritime Committee of the House of Representatives. Now, this my friend had some difficulty, and I tried to intercede on his behalf. And the same human person we are talking about looked me straight in the face and told me that the case was too bad and that he was not going to let up whatever. That it was very unfortunate. He called me up 6 a.m. This particular morning and told me this story. And you know what? By 4 p.m., this person's removal was being announced in the national radio. Now, it is the flip side of that human being. People want to assume that those who are human don't have emotions. No, that is not true. The person you are dealing with has the commitment, of steel. He can stand his ground to take decisions. If he were not that strong, how is it that it is possible for him to hold down on licentious expenditure? It is a product of that level of acute management that you are able to pay salaries as and when due. You understand? The emotion of a leader is a complex, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Is a blend of multifarious, of tendencies.
So power can blend with.
Oh yes, a leader can cry, but the leader should have, the mind of steel. When you talk about the government house, what you find there is that because he has thrown it open, all manner of individuals, come. It is more like, come, this is your house. You understand? Well, when you get there, don't you find order? As a matter of fact, there's more order now in government house than ever before. And yet you have this human face there. It is more like, yes, I will welcome you. Come here. I'm here for you. Both the Methodists, the Catholics, the Protestants, the beggars, name them. Lawyers, name them. Speculators, name them. Bikers, name them. I am going to be your governor.
Okay.
I am going to treat you with humanity, with humane touch, but I'm going to be very, very firm. So don't misconstrue emotional outburst. It is what really makes you the human being that you are. Don't forget, you are not expecting an animal as a leader. You have an insensate being. No, you need a person who has capacity to feel. And so that is what this governor has capacity to do. He has capacity to feel. He has capacity to sympathize. He has capacity to empathize. These are extraordinary politics.
Okay, Nana has something to say.
Yes, in trying to embellish what he has said so far, I think it takes a leader, properly so called, who has this human nature, to be able to accept that this man may belong to another political party, but first and foremost, he's an indigenous of the state,
As a community.
and he deserves respect.
Okay.
You know, he has been able to employ silent dignity to win what verbal pugilism had often lost. You would agree with me that Enugu had transited from era of swashbuckling tendencies to era of recluse in governance to an openness now whereof everybody has access to that government house. Government is about the people. And if
I like
government
the transition. Okay.
and government is about the people. And if the people own government, therefore government house should be for the people. Okay. And I do not find it any way belittling of the office of the governor. It is indeed a credit to him that he has been able to humanize governance.
Wow. All right. I think more people will get interested. Now, His Excellency Dr. Lawrence Ifeanyi has been in office for 1,288 days, 9 hours, 30 minutes. Yes.
That is only how long it
I know it
took.
will be possible.
30 minutes, and of course the seconds are counting down. Now we have 17, 18, and it's going down.
I think we have taken some minutes out of that. So, if you have been in governance, you must subtract this one.
Governance is going on. Okay, so what do you think are the cardinal differences that have been made with the ascendance of His Excellency to the Lion Human? What will you say has changed?
Just have to say in what practical ways. Okay? In what practical ways has he touched the lives, both in infrastructure, both in whatever thing you think that has been done in the past 3.5 years, so to speak?
Okay. I would prefer to say that the Ugwe phenomenon is all-encompassing. Within the core values of his administration's transformative agenda, which are essentially to redress social infrastructural deficits, accelerate rural development, and tackle head-on the pandemic of poverty in the urban and rural communities, has been able to initiate fundamental projects that have really transformed the lives of the people of the state. Okay. If I start with road construction, he has been able to open up areas that would never before had thought about roads coming to their place. Let me start from issues of, for instance, you will agree with me that the harmful powder has gone. Before now, nobody would have worn white dress to Isuzu. But today he has constructed that bridge and reconstructed the road that leads to that place. If you go to University Town, he's wearing a completely new look. If you come to Amore in Kano, which had witnessed some sinister abandonment over the decades, he has been able to take them to their home all season, all time. He has been able to make the people of Kano East to go to their local government councils without having to pass through 4 local governments. For instance, people from Owo, axis of the local government, used to pass through Enugu North, Enugu South, and Kano West before getting to their headquarters. Okay. Today, they are able to go there because of the thoughtfulness of the governor. He has been able to humanize governance again by recognizing that Enugu as a city thrives on the civil service culture. Are you aware that he pays even 13th month, and this year will not be an exception? He pays whether there is allocation from the federation account or not. He has been able to engineer a culture of internally generated revenue that looks beyond oil from Abuja. Okay. Because we have had this culture of feeding bottle democracy, whereby every month we rush to the capital city to get some money. But he's able to look beyond that, because the clamor for resource control, nobody can wish it away. In the not too distant future, it is possible that everybody has to rely on his internally generated revenue. Has shown an uncanny ability to generate and manage resources. And Enugu is today the most peaceful state. It is not by accident, therefore, that is today the governor of the year by a major newspaper. Am I to talk on the social paradigm? Look at Rangers International. Away from 35 years of solitary existence, where it was all struggle not to go on relegation, they are double champions today, only in 2 years of his administration. I would say that if we take it sector by sector, I will be able to extrapolate on this point.
Okay. Charlie, let's bring this in.
Okay. It's such a wide field trying to get a grasp, on the achievements of such a prodigious leader. But like he said, we take the issue sector by sector. If you take a look at what I call backward integration, the aspect of the policy of government to incentivize, to give resources to autonomous communities to develop projects. Now, what does that mean? It means that the governor has been able to segment leadership and governance. When you isolate 458 autonomous communities, empower them, you are taking leadership from the rear. So I call it backward integration. So as you lead from the front, now you have a back image of what is going on. Now, that is by no means a monumental achievement, because what he has done is that it has been able to really, get the people to sift out issues that are burning to them, and then they carry out those projects by themselves. Through that process, you have instrumentalized them, giving them capacity to carry on development. It's more like spreading the dragnet of government, widening, the scope of the possibilities of your administration, and under segmented leaderships that guarantee accountability. Now, this is key. When we talk about...
Hold on, Charlie. You're talking about these grants to...
For the autonomous communities.
Yes, well-intentioned. The critics have something to talk about it.
Okay.
There is no accountability check, because in various communities, they say it was like a great gift to traditional rulers. They say that even those who are, a lot of local communities are quarreling and fighting. I said they've waited for time to see an intervention in terms of how are those funds managed. Which agency of government is monitoring? I know there's REC.
Yeah.
So which agency of government is monitoring how those monies are spent? Okay. Because it's not enough to just give out money, but you must also ensure that that money is prudently managed.
Okay. Now, I should guess you are aware that there is a bill lying there at the State Assembly. There's a fiscal responsibility bill for Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Okay? Now, it is at the center of the disposition of the governor in ensuring accountability, in guaranteeing a first line of obligation, that when you have resources of government, you have to recognize there's an obligation to account. Now, you can be held accountable. Now, that is the instrument that the governor intends to utilize in checkmating the kind of tendencies you are talking about now. It is a very strategic and bold step. It is like the EFCC of the state. Now, this governor has more than 10 eyes, I can tell you. And he has his fingers upon just everything else.
Was he a political octopus?
He has to be. That's why you call him Gburugburu. You have to have a massive reach, a limitless capacity, to reach out to practically all the places all at once, simultaneously. You understand? So I know that he is very interested in issues of accountability, and that is the purpose of that bill. and that will come to fruition, and some of the issues you are raising will become things of the past. He is aware of what he's doing. Everybody who has a cent, a kobo of government has an obligation, to account. And so he has established a first line, a direct line of responsibility through this commission. So I can ask you to go to rest.
And I can add to it. It's not a free money, so to speak. Apart from the fact that we have recognized that a VEC exists, which is visit every community, you will agree with me that although it is a 10 million naira project per community,
It comes in tranches.
it comes in tranches, and there is assessment to be made by what we have been able to achieve before even the other one is given.
Yes.
There are those who are charged to go from community to community to assess the developmental projects going on there. And even more so, it was not a check given to the traditional ruler. It was a combination of the traditional ruler, the town union authorities.
Yeah.
If all of them will combine to dupe themselves, then that
That's
is their
the
project.
Jesus.
That will combined on us.
All right, I want to.
But I want to say
Okay.
that in furtherance of all this, it has been able to act the Ugwain phenomenon such that anywhere you are in Enugu State today, his achievements stare at you. If the infrastructural developments don't stare at you, the payment of workers before 25th of every month stare at you. The peace we enjoy stare at you. The phenomenon of every community handling something of their own specific choices in all the communities stare at you. As a matter of fact, his achievements stare at you everywhere you are in Enugu State.
All right. Of course, part of what we're doing is interrogation, but we're also bringing to your notice certain things. According to the Sun newspaper of 28th of October, we have His Excellency as the Governor of the year, and maybe I should read this. It might give us insight as to why they considered him the Governor of the year in 2014. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State made history as a politician who emerged as a consensus candidate many months before the general elections. At the time, other states were going through crisis over who will be candidates of their parties. Ugwuanyi has been chosen by his Nsukka zone and later endorsed by all the zones in Enugu as a preferred candidate. He was to be figuratively coronated governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) at a primary, which turned out to be a formality. During the electioneering for the 2015 governorship election, Gburugburu, as he's fondly called, owing to the traditional title conferred on him to underscore his generosity and philanthropy, became a mantra in Enugu. He was to win the governorship election as well as all the court cases that followed. Close to 3.5 years in the saddle as governor, Ugwuanyi has shown vision, determination, and drive to change the fortunes of the people of Enugu State. He has strived to deliver the proverbial dividends of democracy in all facets of the state's life, which many predecessors in office in the first tenure. Ugwuanyi has continued to pay salaries to workers in the state as and when due. Indeed, he was one of the 3 governors in the Federation that paid workers' salaries when there were hiccups in the disbursement of funds from the Federation account. The Enugu governor has constructed and reconstructed roads across the state to make movement easy. Such critical roads he has tackled include 9th Mile Bypass Road, Amekengwu Sude 9th Mile Bypass Road, Abakbanike Road, and Nike Lake Road, the Opinsuka Dual Carriageway, Obecharan Road Junction, Omakashi Mechanic Village, Ikenga Hotel Junction Road, Post Office Roundabout, then University Gate Road, and Homoba Junction, Imilikani, Ezimo, Ono, Ezimo Agbo Imilike, Ogbodo Aba, Obola for Udenu Ring Road, among others. The Enugu State Governor has made a mark in policy of creating new urban centers and opening up the rural areas by providing requisite infrastructure the transformation of the sleepy university city of Nsukka, which was the University of Nigeria, signposts the governor's determination to uplift urban areas. Now, many people who work in Enugu metropolis prefer to live in Nsukka, where the governor has made life so good, and from where they go to work in the state capital. For this feats, aggressively transforming the Enugu landscape, impacting the lives of its people, and revolutionizing governance. Ugwanyi, a former House of Representatives member and chairman, House Committee on Marine Transport, wins the Governor of the Year award.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Nothing more to add indeed.
Brilliant, you must say.
It's a graphic representation of all his
Yes. But there's a concern. That concern, and that's why we're Freedom Square. The village square in the village. That even when the Igbo is talking, one man who is drunk will tell me, you're not saying the correct thing. What happened to street lights in Enugu? People are worried.
Well, in partisan politics, it would be very naive to expect that even when you are silently disposed, that everybody will accept that you have done well. Don't forget that in politics, those who are greedy of applause hardly give a chair to their opponents. But I'm surprised that you are saying this because you are just coming back from Lagos. If you had been
I've been away for about 10 days.
If you have been around in the recent past, you would have known that place.
These are concerns of people. Okay.
It has been taken care of. You would also understand that 1 week ago or thereabout, there was a statement issued by the contractor handling this thing.
I read that.
And they explained the reason for the delay. In fact, certain things combined to mock at their foresight. But having gone around in recent days, I can see that they have really begun to fix all those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This concern was sent from a man from Anambra.
Okay.
So he comes into Enugu, join Enugu, suddenly he came once and there was.
But you see, there are certain things. Really, politics is a very compelling game. You know,
It should be.
When all these traffic lights were on,
Nobody complains.
are you aware that some people complain that it has delayed movement in Enugu?
Okay, yes.
Some people complain.
They said you're getting too many.
When we even had these traffic monitors, you know, people protested. Why should these people be around? This thing is disturbing our movement. But in any case, that is politics. I want to say that what is good nonetheless. It may pain some people, but generally speaking, it's a good development, and the governor appreciates that. And that is why they have come on again.
Okay.
Can we temporarily do a satellite on education? We've talked about roads. Okay. But it's good to take this sector by sector. What could we say could be the signposts in this almost 3 years that the governor has been able to strategically place as concerns education in our state?
Sorry, can I take that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it may interest you to know that before this governor came on board, all the tertiary institutions in this state were lacking accreditation. But today, they are all fully accredited. Now you have Enugu State College of Education, Technical. Before this governor came on board, it was comatose. Now you have Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolu. Before this governor came on board, it was comatose. Now, IMT has not had convocation ceremony in the last 10 years.
I think it is 11.
11 years. Now, it is as ridiculous as that. Education got to that level, that very, very ridiculous level. This governor will not take it. You see, because there is a psychological impact. Convocation is not for nothing. It is like the icing on the cake. Some people tell you that they enter the forces, go to become soldiers because of uniforms. Now, a lot of people get energized just because they see people wear graduation gowns and stuff like that. You will have noticed that that practice has even trickled down to kindergartens. Little children want to go to school earlier than they used to because they want to wear those gowns. Now, they have direct impact on the people. Now, there was this assumption, therefore, that that was absolutely unimportant, but then it is the peak. It's the icing on the cake. You don't spend so much time, 4 5 years, of formal education, and nobody says, man, you have done well. This governor has made it possible for IMT to go convocating for the first time in 11 years. This state was so vulnerable. Our health institutions were so vulnerable. Our educational institutions were so vulnerable. It was this governor that reactivated these educational institutions. That is as far as that is concerned. Then there are scholarship schemes. This government has given out scholarships. Now, information technology. This government has taken information technology to practically every secondary school in this state. Now look at provision of basic equipment, provision of chairs, provision of tables and all of that. Before this governor came on board, some schools were actually practically, under the sun. There was no roof. But you don't talk about that anymore. Now, these are hallmarks of his imprints. So quite a good lot is being done in education. And the point is that if we go itemizing, then we may never end this program. But it has its hands effectively in issues of education, and the results are showing.
How does that translate into secondary and primary education?
Let me even add to what my colleague has said. Are you aware that prior to this government's emergence, that over 10 years there was no recruitment of primary school teachers in the state? Today, this government has recruited more than 3,000 primary school teachers. And that is the cradle of education. If we don't get it right at that point, every other thing we are doing is effervescent. And I think, having paid attention to this much, it is crucial to underscore his interest in education. Are you aware that IMT is today a degree awarding institution? It is all at the behest of this government. Are you aware that all the technological engineering students in almost all the tertiary institutions in Enugu today are going to school free based on the scholarship they granted? Education is the only instrument that can really liberate a people, and the governor knows. We are transiting from oil, and the only thing that can equip a state like Enugu to survive is its intellectual capacity, and it's founded in education, and he realizes that. And he has not made any game about making education to stand primus inter pares in the consideration of sectors.
Selfish follow-up to this. Selfish because it is personal, and selfish because it concerns my people.
Okay.
First, the governor talked about moving the College of Education to Ogbo, Ihe, to be precise. There was a revision that the University of Education. If I don't ask this question, I won't go back to Agbo. If I don't ask this question. And then there was a promise, a very heartily promise, of which we applauded him, that the University of Education should be cited where you have the teacher training college in here. That's a pretty long time. I may be blind, but I do not know. If you don't know, I will understand. But do you know exactly what is going on? Because there seems to be no activity around it.
You seem to imagine that relocation of a crucial institution like that will be a one-swoop affair. There has to be planning. There has to be some kind of feasibility.
But people know they go for Christmas. Oman now bought. You want to buy a Christmas dress for me? I will be
For
naked.
him to have pronounced. Remember what I said.
Yeah.
He has never broken any promises made. He's not a man who talks without thinking. He's not a man who talks out of a kind of compulsion. Before he ever mentioned that thing, he already has thought it through. And I'm sure, if you have been to your village recently, it's either that...
I'm going to pass through it in just the next 1 hour.
You will come back to confirm to me some groundwork that is already going on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. It's important to us because that is one thing you may not understand. Why I ask the question. It's something that our people look forward to so passionately. And they believe that the Daniel has come to judgment, that the forgotten people have been remembered.
Okay, let me put it this way. People in government, you have feelers, right? If things are going on, you should try to get feedback. So from the feelers you're getting, you've outlined what he has done. And the Enugu, are they happy with what is going on? From your feelers?
They are overwhelmingly so.
Okay.
Such that I will tell you, if not that it is imperative for people to contest in an election, he would have been going unopposed. Let me tell you something. There are various reasons why people partake in politics. It could be to just exercise the right granted to them by the Constitution. In our climb, we have this predilection to begin to call anybody a name associated or a sobriquet associated with the office he occupied. If you contested for governorship, no matter how farcical and
You become His Excellency.
you become His Excellency, people will address you as His Excellency.
Igbo afọ bụ honor.
Igbo afọ bụ honor. If you ever thought about going to Senate, no matter from which party platform, you are called distinguished senator.
Even when you extinguish.
Even when you extinguish. But for all these facts, I will tell you that everybody accepts that Ugwai will go. What could even have been is people trying to feel nostalgic about his exit into 2023. It is not about whether he will go back.
Exactly.
It is about how do we feel
When he leaves.
when he leaves.
Exactly.
Because look at all the institutions of the state. If we are judging it, who are the political leaders in this state that have not endorsed him? Who are the religious leaders in this state that have not endorsed him? Is it the traders? You know? Is it the Okada riders? That is again a reference to what you said about government has been open to people. It is palpable. They cannot divorce themselves from the environment and still retain their identity. It is imperative that they have to really go and underscore their feeling, and that is why government houses have been crowded in recent times.
Now, can I puncture you here?
Okay.
Yeah, you talked about the general acceptability,
Okay.
the endorsement and all that. But I know for sure, unless I'm mistaken, there are certain names they call the big names, the owners of Enugu, so to speak, that would appear not to be so comfortable with this assertion. And at the risk of mentioning names, top on that is His Excellency, former Governor of Anambra State, Jim Ogbodo. He's an APC.
Okay.
Add to that from his Amechi, his brother,
Yes.
the former Senate President, looming as large as he is, Ken Namani. And don't forget, the immediate past governor of the state, Sullivan Chima. Add to that, Santayo Ogeza, who represented an entire senatorial zone in the Senate for about 8 years.
Okay.
And many more, they belong to the other party. So when we talk about this sweeping acceptance, I begin to wonder how right you are.
Oh, I'm quite right. And I'm going to take it, now that you have mentioned their names, I will take it from those names. With every due respect, I consider that everybody has one reason or the other that manifests to determine his political affiliation. But one thing about Enugu is that today we have been able to divorce ourselves from the stringent divisions about politics. In taking the former governor of Anambra State, Jim Ogbodo, for instance, in recent outing, he described His Excellency, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, as Junior Jim. He said, this is Junior Jim. By implication, it means that he could not have voted against himself. If he describes him as his Junior Jim, it means that he's doing everything he, Jim, would have wished to do if he was still governor.
I took exceptions to that. Because there's nothing Jim in Ifeanyi. If I say Junior Ifeanyi,
no, it is.
I understand, but if I say Junior Ifeanyi, we will now begin to agree.
Will it be on all fours?
Well, it was talking in a kind of graphic manner.
Yeah,
exactly.
That this man represents my aspirations in governance.
Exactly.
This man represents what I would have done as a governor. is he therefore opposed to him?
Yes,
The answer is no.
NPC.
Then look at His Excellency, distinguished Senator Ken Naman. In a recent outing, just for some few days ago, notwithstanding all that he has said about the governor in time past, he said that this election is not going to be about party, it's going to be about individuals. And I know where he was referring to. He was indeed referring to His Excellency, that notwithstanding the division in their parties, the differences in their parties, he's not opposed to a good man. I'm about to talk about the past governor of Enugu State, Sullivan Chime. He was here some weeks back, and one of the questions people posed was, do you have any regret? And he said, no, I do not have any, notwithstanding his belonging to a different political platform. Well, Ayogweze has.
Well, he said he belongs to the people of Enugu State. Right, the people of Enugu State.
Yes, he said the people of Enugu State.
They employed him and
employed him.
and then he cannot determine. Okay, yeah.
It is an affirmation that he agreed with the people of Enugu State. I wouldn't talk so much about my friend, my good friend, Senator Ayogweze, but I know he has the right to swing his arms, and we will have the right to protect our nose. He's exercising his constitutional right to contest, and I will still gladly call him His Excellency, whether he wins or not.
Okay. Well, we'll take a short break right now. When we return, part of what we're going to be also doing is that we will expect communities to also say what they want to see, what they expect from governance, and come 2019, if he's.
But if I may add, please.
Okay.
It must also be emphasized that these are not the only names that make Enugu what it is.
Of course.
We still have former governors.
Okay.
We still have former senators. We still have former ministers.
Who are certainly
We still have business moguls. We still have the Ohaneze. We still have all manner of people in Enugu State. And democracy is really not about big names. The vote that the former governors have is the same thing as the vote in the trader in my village, Agbo, has. And what is important is really how many persons are supporting you, not how many big names are behind you. We should divorce ourselves from this cynicism of big names around us and making them look almost like God. They are not. But interestingly, one thing Enugu State has agreed on is on the goodness of the man in the saddle of office today, Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi.
And as we sign out, we just remember that I can summarize what he said as to say, the minority will have their say, the majority will have their way.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm kind of late. What's the problem?